Hello and welcome, guys. Thank you for joining me again for another night of Facebook Live. It is indeed a pleasure to be here with you. And I also want to recognize those that are joining me on the replay from YouTube and or SoundCloud, guys. I am your host, Tricia Bray Smith, and I have special co-host tonight who is joining me for a conversation. That is Miss Auguste Crenshaw.
Hey.
Miss Snowyte Bray. Lartavia Cook.
Hello.
And Shaniece Charles. All right, guys. So tonight we wanted to have the conversation on some of the issues that have been plaguing our nation and our states. And we know it also common because it is beginning to hit closer and closer to home as you see people walking out and protesting and trying to get answers to issues that are affecting even some of our closest loved ones and families. And not only that, guys, we know that the issues that we're facing, we know the sensitive nature that we're dealing with. But tonight, I wanted to just have some ladies here to join me to kind of get some different perspectives on what it is that we're really dealing with and how we can explore solutions moving forward. Okay, so let me just allow each lady just briefly to tell you who they are and what it is that they do, and then we'll get started tonight. Go ahead, Auguste.
Hey, y'all, what's going on? I'm Auguste Crenshaw, a raw, real, and relentless woman. And since she's opened up the door for us to have a genuine conversation, I feel like I'm in the right place and I'm in my lane. I do work online as a business coach. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and a lover of purple and a whole bunch of other things. And so I'm just here to have a dialogue with y'all.
Go ahead, Lord.
Yes, I'm Lartavia Cook. I currently work at a pediatric office, and I also own my own business, Yours Truly Crafts and Creations. You can check me out on Facebook. And I am a mother of two, and that's about it.
Shaniece, go ahead.
Okay. Hello, my name is Shaniece. I do events, parties, and all kinds of stuff for events and parties and weddings and everything. I have 3 kids, 3 bad babies.
All right, and Snow?
My name is Snowyte Bray. I am currently in school to be a nurse practitioner.
All right, so we're all going to come from a different perspective, different experiences. I myself am in that mid to older level here, me and Miss Auguste, and then we have some of the younger viewpoints on the issues that we deal with. So I would just like to pose the question tonight to either of the ladies for you to just take the reins on it. What is the real issue that we are dealing with in our nation today?
I think the real issue that we're dealing with in our nation today is that we just happen to live in a very corrupt country. And that's not just because of the black and white issues. It's just because of the way the system is set up, period. There are a lot of things that are going on, like, for instance, with the mismanagement, the miscommunication, the lies and falsehoods with COVID. We got a country that's saying that we're in a recession, unemployment rates have soared through the roof, the economy is low, but the stock market is thriving. You know, it's really obvious to see that we live in a world where it's about the have versus the have-nots. And I'm not talking about from the perspective of people that don't want to put their foot forth and work and do anything. I'm saying that we just live in a world where it's deliberately set up that some people are going to thrive and some people are going to have to struggle and push through whatever all of that bullshit is in order to be able to thrive. And so, wherever there is evil, you could follow the money trail. And so I just think we live in a corrupt nation across the board. And then the fact that it's built off the back of slavery, that just adds to, the rest of the chaos. And so people may not understand it from that perspective to the degree that I've said it, but at the root of everything that we're dealing with, we're going to realize political corruption, financial corruption, racial corruption, even the food industry, just corruption, corruption, corruption. And so evil can only have its place for so long before shit gets shook up, before it gets shook up.
I totally agree. It's not just a one-sided issue that we're dealing with, although when things are in the heat of it all, that seems to draw our focus to that area. And we know that this is not an issue that had just happened overnight. We woke up one day and then all of a sudden here it is. This is, when we look at it and we really know the history of our nation, we know that our nation has been founded on such men perception, the dynamics of which this free country that we live in, that it is just the way it was founded on, and here we are, women on this platform tonight, but you guys know that we women didn't have a say in the constitutions and things like this of this nation that we live in, and there are so many other dynamics of it all that we really have our great work ahead of us. Larte, you're in a city area. What is the issue as you see it, being a young mother working in corporate America?
What do you mean?
How do you perceive the issues that we're dealing with in the nation? Do you perceive an issue at all, or and if you do, what is the issues that you see? How do you perceive it?
Like for an example, like the DHS system. You have to make a less amount of money to get any help. So that makes people want to be lazy and not do anything because they need that extra assistance. According to them, we make enough to be able to buy food, afford daycare. In reality, we don't, because they're looking at taxes that we don't even get.
So what I'm hearing you say is that it's hard as a single parent raising kids to get the assistance that you feel like you need to keep your household together. And so that kind of puts added pressure on you as a parent to either go to work and make a
Your internet is going in and out.
Froze a little bit.
living, or to, okay. So are you saying that the government system, the way it's set up, is where our issues are? That where you see the issues?
It's a part of it, definitely. And then I feel like as Black African American, we should definitely educate ourselves, and it starts with us at the end of the day. At the end of the day, we have to be the change we want to see.
Okay. And Shaniece, chime in and let us know where you see the issues being at.
Okay, I'm gonna get on the subject that Tay had said. I think it's the same thing. Like for instance, I'm not working because I have my daughter or whatever, but the daycare costs too much, and they said that me and my husband make too much to even get assistance, but they want us to pay $200-300 a week. I'm like, and how somebody supposed to pay $200-300 a week plus buy food plus provide anything for household needs, food, water, light bill, or anything else. But at the same time, if you do go to daycare, they want automatic child support. They don't want to help you. They want all this extra stuff, and people don't want to work. Like for instance, I'm not working because I can't afford to pay $200-300 a week for daycare. So I'm not working. I'm at home, and people that is working and still trying to pay for daycare weekly, they're struggling because it's hard. Can't nobody afford to pay anything like that. Plus, still have a decent household, buy clothes, buy shoes, buy all your stuff that you need. I think it's all retarded, and I think they need to help more. Whether you're single, married, whether you got 5 kids, I think they need to help more. Like I applied for food stamps, and I told them that I wasn't working or whatever, and I'm still waiting on my food stamps. They want all your information. They don't want to help you. They send me a letter asking how many people live in the house, how long have you been with your husband, how long you like. Why do you need to know all that stuff? You either go help or you don't, or you're not going to help.
I
And I'm
understand.
still.
And so what?
I think they don't want to help, and when they do want to help, they want to be all in your business and then make you feel bad, make you feel low. Like just because you asking for help, they make you feel low. They make you feel like you're not worthy. I don't like it. I don't like the system at all.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that the system is set up as to oppress people, and I'm not familiar with the system per se because my children are up and grown, but I can relate to you guys' story. Just thinking about it, I can see where it could be set up to oppress, because that's basically what it is. It's an oppression, a control. Now, we've heard what we feel like the issues are as it attains to race and racism and the system being oppressive and things like that. What I want to focus on with what you guys are saying tonight, I want to focus more on solutions, because we all have our own opinion about where the problem is, what the problem is. I want to explore what are the solutions for the issues that we're dealing with. What are the solutions when it comes to the racism issues that we deal with, or the violence that we've been seeing? Is protest the only answer to the racial side of it? And if not, what are the other solutions that we need to start implementing so that we can get the answers we need?
I will have something to say. I don't want to be too long-winded, but if you don't mind, I want to address a solution though to what Shaniece said. And I say that because I was a young mom, 19, pregnant, lived in a homeless shelter at one point in my life. I was on Section 8, got welfare, got food stamps, stuff like that. And yeah, it is definitely a humiliating experience to go and they want to know any and everything about you, before they give you benefits or give you any kind of help. And so for me, let me just say this first, because I don't know any of the other young women's situation in full detail or anybody else that may come and watch this video. So when I get ready to say what I'm saying, trust me, by no means am I being insensitive, nor am I comparing, nor am I judging, because if I say some things that they don't fit, I'm just giving my because this is a very broad topic. But when I was younger and dealing with that same dilemma, and daycare wasn't nearly as bad, inflation hadn't eroded so bad, I realized that there was something that I had to do that was different, and that going to get a job really just wasn't going to be the answer for me, but I still needed to make money. And I had started a business when I was a sophomore in high school. And so what we have to understand, not everybody, not just as Black people, but specifically more so with Black people, that we've got to start saying that we want to take control of our own destiny and go ahead and put in that hustle and that grind and invest in our own gifts and talents. And I know that sometimes that may be difficult because we weren't raised to do that. You were taught to go to school, you were taught to get the job, you were taught that whatever you was doing, that was cute. But you know, it wasn't necessarily a business and you weren't going to make money off of it because the system really is not set up to help us. And to be honest with you, whether people realize it or not, the more the government keeps on giving to us, then the more expensive stuff is going to keep on getting. And so unfortunately, the cost is never going to catch up with the pay. And so just to give a brief example, in 1994, I was making $4.25 an hour at my first job in high school at Mercantile Bank. Gas was as low from anywhere between on a real killer day, like 63 cents. And at the most, $1.05. If somebody told you they had $5 on your gas tank, you filled up and you went and got you a candy bar. Whereas now $5, well, you prior to the pandemic wouldn't even barely make the little hand move. So, but when you look at life right now, there are places where people still barely getting $8 or $7.50 an hour. So the minimum wage has not doubled. But prior to the pandemic and all of the crisis with the oil and all of that stuff, gas was over $2 an hour. So the gas prices are more than double, rent more than double. And so people that want a welfare state or a welfare society, you don't understand at the end of the day, the short version of it is this, that there's no real money out there. And as long as they making up money and as long as they just saying they give it to us, then we just going to keep on dealing with inflation and we're not going to be able to afford anything. So flip-flopping and going back. So my thing is invest in yourself, invest your time, reprioritize, cut the Netflix series off, cut Hulu off, cut the radio off, get your ass up, read a book, watch a video, learn how to do all of this stuff online. We have to take the time that we have and say, how do I maximize this shit? So if I was doing it back in the day when I was only 19, 20, 21 years old, and I figured out I had to do whatever it was I had to do, we got to get that hustle and grind back in order for us to, you know what I'm saying, in order for us to really, really, truly escape all of this shit. That's one. But as far as, you know, the protesting and stuff like that, I know I'm going to say something that's probably unpopular. I really wish Black people would stop protesting. I know what Martin Luther King did. I know what Dr. King and all of them did, but you need to understand that, first of all, what they did, how they organized, there was a high level of structure and there were real demands. To stop killing Black men, that's not a real demand. But when you start going up there and you're saying this is specifically what I want to change politically and structurally, and you talking to people that are changing the minds of people that are writing policy, that's different. They agitate us on purpose. Now, somebody may think that what I'm about to say is just a tad bit far-fetched. But when COVID hit, they wanted us to all be sick. They wanted us to be scared. They put us in quarantine. When quarantine didn't have us act erratic and they couldn't find a justification for martial law, all of a sudden a video pops out where a brother got shot 2 months during when the pandemic first came out. Y'all don't think that was on time, that they strategically released that video? Y'all don't think that they added all of this because they know how we gonna act. This is a game of chess. And you can't tell me that white dude wasn't a KKK member and he didn't get the news. Hey, the next time you pull a nigga over, kill his ass, because we need to get these Black people screaming Black Lives Matter. They know exactly what we gonna do. We gonna go out there, we gonna protest. Y'all see they putting the bricks out there in advance. You see they going out there busting up the shit and they starting the fires. So do the opposite of what the fuck they want. Because while we out there still peacefully protesting and they out there starting shit, they're going to justify implementing martial law any damn way. We got to do something different. We've been marching for too fucking long. And if y'all really know Martin Luther King, y'all know he regrets some of the shit that he did because he said he believes that we integrated into a burning house. So don't do what they expect us to do. Get that stimulus check, sit your ass down and go and learn how to invest in stocks and triple that shit up. Do something different, but quit playing the hand that they expect. That's just how I feel about it.
I agree. I'm not necessarily for the protest and things like that, because I hadn't really fully understand what the protest is for. I mean, I really don't have a good understanding. I don't have a good understanding of the vision of the leaders leading the protest movements. And I've never really understood Black Lives Matter. I understand the concept in which it has been used, but I do not understand the vision for that organization, Black Lives Matter. Now, I'm one, I believe all humanity matters, but I understand where they're getting this slogan from, and how the organization evolved with young Black men, lives being taken and things like that. But I don't know where the protest alone is doing any justice for these particular issues that we're dealing with in our nation. But what I have seen, and this is what bothers me, is that we're out there and protesting and whatever it is we're doing, but the people that we're protesting against, we're out there advertising their brand in their stuff. So you can see where your dollars are going, but did you not know that you're defeating the cause when your money goes to send their children to school, when your money goes to support their legacies? We haven't thought to educate ourselves enough. And I like when Auguste said that about learning stuff while you're at home. This is where we are oppressed or suppressed, is in our minds, because we want to make excuses before we want to finally get it. You know, there is people that are out there doing what I desire to do. People are out there making it, and they're doing their own thing, making it without help or support. So what can I do? How can I learn what it is that they've done to put themselves in a better position? And you said it. And the one thing that keeps us in a state of mediocrity, and that is blaming, complaining, and making excuses, is that we do not read. All we know is what we see streaming from our cell phones and internet, and what they show us on the TV. And they're not showing you how to better yourself. They're not showing you how to reach that level of success that you desire so much. They're not telling you how to make that money work for you. These are things that we're going to have to learn ourselves, guys. This is something that we really have to be intentional with and learn ourselves. If education could do it just by going to school and getting a trade and going out getting a job, I would be so much further along now. But I'm just 3 years in on this thing, learning how to shift my mindset and being intentional on educating myself on the things I need to know to redirect the course of my life. Not only my life, but teaching so that my children also can learn something. It's time out for excuses. Here in 2020, there are no more excuses. You have every answer you need right there in the palm of your hand, 24 hours a day. We all have the same amount of time, and what we do with that time is the difference maker. But we really have to stop putting our money into things that are not benefiting us. And that's the mindset we have. We have the mindset of a consumer. So we need to shift that mindset so that we are producers and that we can start generating wealth for our families, so we will no longer be suppressed and oppressed by the system, because that's what they use. They use our ignorance to continue to keep us in a state of lack and poverty.
I personally believe that one of the things that definitely needs to change within the Black community is that our priorities and our desires need to change. We've been sucked up into a system, and this doesn't mean that white people don't do it too. And also, if she's still on here, I want to respond to Miss Connie D's comments. She went in the comments while we were talking, but something as simple as, oh Lord, I can't wait till these kids turn 18 so they take their ass to college, so they can get out of here. If you recognize that it's costly to live on your own, and this is something I tried to teach my daughter before she left out. I'm like, look, why you want to leave so fast? You don't have to spend the quote unquote the same amount of money paying here, I'm saying, that you would pay rent somewhere else, but you are getting older. So you need to develop and cultivate a sense of responsibility, but stay within the household. We won't be grown. Now I got to get my own, I got to get my own. One of the things that kept the family together was that we were basically like the Hispanics and the Asians, multiple people in one house. We fighting to get, extra bedrooms, office space, and all of this stuff, to get our own car, to have all of these things. My thing is this: if you really are not financially sound enough to afford all of those things, that's what it means to be humble. Take your time and be patient and wait. The great American lie, the great American dream that, you make it once you get your house, your picket fence, that's it. Who said that you had to adopt that to be your belief? And the thing that I can't stand that's so perverted to me is that when I was younger, when you thought about buying a house, it was like a really big deal. You like sat down and you didn't do it until you kind of had an idea of what you wanted your family to look like. If you were thinking you were going to have 2 kids and you were married, then you got a house that you could grow into, so that when so you paid off that 30-year mortgage. But now they have you do things where it's like, oh, get you a starter house. We made these little itty bitty houses, and you only be in that house for like 5 years. Then you finally get you a boo or a guy, but made it a bachelor pad, and then you gonna want to get another house. And the way they sell you the dream, it's like, yeah, but you gonna have equity in it, and then you take that equity and you can use that towards getting you another house or something like that. Before you know it, all you're doing is recycling debt. Because what people fail to realize is that there's this whole balloon effect, a basic balloon effect, or arching, so to speak, in finances. When you're young, you don't need nothing. Well, you looked up and you got you a good job, making you some good money. You still staying at home with your mom and them. You stack. You stack. And I'm not just talking about save it, but I'm saying you do some stuff with that money. But as you get older and you get a boo, then you get a house, then you get some kids, you start needing more money. A lot of people complain about Social Security, which I'm all about us being entrepreneurs and creating our own destiny, but thinking about retirement. Do you really understand that when you retired, the intention was never for you to get the same kind of money that you were getting paid while you were employed? Because now this big old balloon effect that you created, guess what? You're an empty nester. The house is paid off. You don't drive around as much. The car is more reliable. It doesn't cost as much for groceries. So you need a lot less money, like back in the day when you first started and you were living with your parents. But you look at what's going on in society now, because this is a debt-driven country. You got people that's 60 and 65 years old talking about potentially needing to buy them another house, or they're still working on paying on a mortgage that could have been paid off 10, 15, 20 years ago. You got people advertising HELOC loans, but this is all about you studying and you getting knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and not being so high on a horse and wanting to live the way that they sold you this dream you know, and then like you said, that thing that they feeding you, because why does that have to be your dream? And some of y'all don't need to own a house because you really want to travel the world and do a whole bunch of other stuff. So that's one thing. But you know, for the woman Connie, you know, with her comment, you know, at the end of the day, the solutions, the result of the solutions are generational, because to ultimately get the things that we want right now, I don't honestly, and I know you're speaking from a Native American / white woman perspective. I'm keeping this, you know, from the Black woman's perspective. Like right now, the things that I'm teaching my children, they've got to get it so ingrained in their brain that they teach their children. So it's probably going to be 2 or 3 up to 5 generations before the full manifestation could occur. And that's if Black people could be consistent with educating and switching the game and refocusing the power of their dollar and stop trying to save themselves to millionaireship and doing stuff like that. But there can still be an impact right now. So the overall fallout would take multiple generations, but to begin to see the progress would blow our minds if we were laser focused and intentional. And so one of the issues that we have is that when we do get ready to do something in the Black community, and I talked about this on my own page, is that a lot of time when white people do want to join our movement, you all don't really internalize or feel our pain, but y'all always want to be at the front of the mission. And so at some point, you have to realize that this is our fight. We got to fight our fight. It starts with us, and you help us and you join within, but you don't lead from the front. And that's why, Miss Ann, you don't know what Black Lives Matter is about. How often do you see, any other time you see a nonprofit organization, can't you go click on the board of directors? Can't you see who's involved in the company or organization? At least the founding member. Where do you see any of that stuff on there? You know why you don't see anything? Because Black Lives Matter is something that's funded by our enemies. It's funded by our fucking enemies. And when you read the What We Believe page, they talking about being fair to transgender women and children. They're not talking about our Black men. They started a story about Black men. But if you take your time and you read, you will see the movement is not even about the preservation of our people. And some people will say, well, they're still saying children and, you know, they're still saying women. But if you take out the man, what 2 coochies gonna do together? We can't build our families if we're not protecting the whole thing. And in a Christian driven society, ain't the man technically the head? We need our men. And so that's what happens. I mean, those are evil white people with manipulative, within a manipulative agenda, but still, nevertheless, our movement, our cause, our way. And finally say, like you said, Ann, white men set up this system. Mm-hmm. And so women need to be at the forefront. Well, white people, y'all been doing enough trying to help us. Let us get back to what we was doing when it was the Black Panthers, it was Malcolm X, and it was Martin Luther King. Let us be the face and the plotters and planners and strategizers of our movements.
I think that what we're really going to have to do collectively as a culture is that we really have to educate ourselves on these things. And I think this is why the Black Lives Matter, it's a play on words. And we know it's a play on words because of all the condescending back and forth. So we know it's a play on words, but more than that, it's also a play on emotions, because you got vulnerable people that don't really understand what the movement is, but they know the words Black Lives Matter. And when they see the blood of the young men and women in the streets taken so unjustly as we view it, then it causes a stir of emotions and things like that. But we, like I said, we just follow things. We're so easily led to follow movements and follow things and to be involved in things that we really don't know about. So this is why I sit in my chair on my couch, so to speak, because there are some things that I really just don't understand. But if I desire to know, and if I'm going to involve myself in seeking solutions for the things that we're coming up against, then it starts with educating myself, guys. And Larte, I want to kind of get some input from you. What steps do you feel like that you could take to kind of shift the situation that you kind of find yourself in, as opposed to the things that you just heard on this platform?
I definitely believe in educating ourselves and getting our own businesses going, and possibly just buying from one another, supporting one another, and hopefully, everyone else will support us as well. Just having our own community, having our own stores, grocery stores, hair stores, everything that the white people have, we can have too. But it takes us to do it. It takes us to educate ourselves and do it, us to put our money together and do it. But I mean, you have a lot of African American who are just really against each other, or it's just what's the word I'm looking for? Competition. And it's not competition. We can all win together. The white people are doing it. Why can't we do it?
I want to say one thing about the, buying from each other. I know in the community that I have, we're putting extra emphasis on making sure that we're speaking up about like spending with other Black businesses and stuff like that. I just recently transferred some accounts and opened. I'm like, you know what, I need to be with Black owned banks. And so once again, Black people, how many of you all are with our banks, instead of theirs? It's like Bank of America put up a post talking about they gonna do some stuff, for the Black Lives Matter. How y'all gonna do that? And y'all one of the key discriminators with y'all mortgage rates and stuff like that. Y'all don't really care, and so a lot of people are saying the right things only because they want, to get Black dollars. But if we're going to do it, we got to spend with each other. And one of the things I know that is difficult is that we always looking for a deal. And a lot of times when you want to buy something from somebody Black, you're not going to get that deal. I can't tell you how many times I have seen Black people open their own beauty supply stores, but these Asians and these Arabs, they block them. You got to get the hookup and get it connect in order to get their resources, and they to get the access to their resources. And a lot of them, they blackball them and they keep them out. And so when they finally navigate around, then it becomes this thing about having to pay to play. So yeah, you might be able to get some cheap, little, yaki over here, at the beauty supply for, $29.99. But then when you get ready to go buy from your sister, you're like, damn, $35.99 or more. And you have to actually make the decision and say, I'm still going to spend that money with my sister just so I can keep that money in the Black community. But part of the reason why I feel like we don't do a good job of doing that is because we don't really understand what it means to rotate the money. We petty with it. It's like, oh, well, Aunt Tricia wrote a book. I bought her book, so she need to buy my book too. Instead of realizing that when Aunt Tricia wrote a book, I bought her book, and then she was able to go buy some of them candles that Shaniece made, and Shaniece was able to then go down the street and maybe go on here and get that makeup kit or her new eyeliner, her mascara, and we rotating the money around so that we can all circulate, because somebody else is going to buy my book or my program, and I'm going to go and I'm going to spend with somebody else. We get real tit for tattish when we doing it. We don't understand that it's also going to be an investment, which means we have to, there's a season of reprioritizing how you spend your money. And in the online arena, especially, you got so many people trying to make you believe that your money mindset is based off of how much cash you could trick off. Not strategically building and rewarding yourself. Sometimes people want you to get you a bigger house, to get you a more expensive car, and all of you just finally started making money in your business. You don't even have any stability yet. You haven't even studied it yet. You don't know how next year COVID could fucking hit, and you had a bomb year last year, and now you're trying to figure it out this year. And that's called being responsible and being a steward. And so we're responsible and we're stewards, and we take our time, then we can put ourselves in a position where we could spend more money. So that means that, you know what, you're gonna have to do your own hair for a while. You're gonna have to do your own nails for a while. You're gonna have to pay your girlfriend. I understand Lou Fang and them gonna do it for that high, $19.99, but your sister over here gonna do your nails for $35, and she ain't gonna give you no damn fungal infection, and she ain't gonna cut up your feet and end up making them rough. The way her process is gonna be different. You ain't gonna be coming in and out of no factory. Yeah, you can get it done by Lou Fang and them, within 25 minutes. Hers gonna take an hour and a half, but shit gonna be right. And so we got to start thinking on that level. And until we do, we gonna have a problem investing with each other.
Yeah. And I just want to kind of get our students' perspective here tonight also, because, like you said, we tell our kids to graduate school and all this, and we want to hurry up and get them out, or we send them off to college. With the college institutions, we spend a lot of money there, a lot of money, and a lot of us leave these colleges with an overwhelming amount of debt and student loans and things of that nature, which further adds to the pot. So to our student, Snowyte Bray, I just want to pose the question to her: how has attending college prepared or not prepared you for the issues that we're discussing here today?
Well, one thing is adjusting to it, because you're going from most kids are going from relying on their parents 100%, and then they're just thrown into it. So I would say no school or anything is basically preparing you for it. I'm gonna say it was literally a slap in the face for me. And you meet all types of different peoples of different ethnicities, backgrounds, and all this type of stuff. And I wouldn't say like college doesn't prepare you for it. I just say you just kind of figure it out and work your way through it. That's what I would personally say with my experience.
Yeah, I think that college is diverse enough to where you begin to really see in a small arena of things, in a controlled area, the real issues that we deal with in life, as it relates to the racisms and the different cultural suppressions and things of that nature. So on a smaller scale, what resources do they offer on those campuses to help when you're dealing with racial issues and things like this that come up in the college setting?
I don't know exactly what other colleges do, but I'll just use UCO as an example because that's the university I attend in Edmond, Oklahoma. They make it clear if they're having anything big going on, they make sure they email you. It's all around the campus. The teachers are talking about it. It's just something that you basically cannot miss unless you're just ignorant to the fact like, oh, okay, I don't want to pay attention to that. But they do like make the resources about everything pretty clear. I would say, for example, this is not about like racism or anything, but I remember my freshman year of college, and this was very weird to me because in the area that I grew up at, we didn't have this. So what they did, they had a week, they had a whole week dedicated to sexual education. And most areas like Hugo, for example, we don't get a sexual education class. Like I literally went to a different school and got sexual education. So what they do is they have a whole week dedicated to it. What they do is they get out information on STDs, how to protect yourself. They give out free condoms. I would say my personal favorite through that whole week, they had this session called Sex in the Dark. And what they did was we went into a cinema, and they had healthcare professionals down there. And what you can do, everything's dark. They can't see you, but you can see them. So the light is down there on them. And you can chime in on your phone. They have a number for you to text, and you can literally text your questions anonymously, and it'll pop up on the screen, and then they'll answer it for you. Okay. And so I just feel like that's a good type of resource that they have.
Okay. Guys, anything else that you'd like to add on our discussion tonight? We are well aware of what the issues are. Any answers that or possible solutions that you're still honing to, or any last minute comments that you'd like to share with our audience tonight as we begin to wind down on addressing the issues that are in our nation and exploring solutions together so that we're all in a better space.
Well, I was just being slow so somebody else would speak because I know I've been speaking a lot. Oh, I do believe I've said all that I possibly really need to say. My thing is ultimately connect.
Me personally, I feel like there's no love, there's no loyalty. I feel like everybody's just being evil, and I feel like I don't want to be saying nothing racist, but I feel like the white people that don't like black people, I feel like they see us being mean and evil and not loving each other, so they don't give a damn either. They like, well, they don't love each other, they don't care about each other, so why should we? That's how I feel about it.
That's exactly how I feel. It starts with us. Like, for an example, me starting my business, there was a girl from Oklahoma City. I asked her, hey, maybe we collab sometime. How do you do that? Because I'm interested in doing the same thing. And she blocks me from Facebook. We could have made money together. Like, why does it have to be a competition? Why are we? You step on somebody's shoe and kill. People ain't doing that.
Oh, that's true. I kind of had the same experience when I started my event business. I would ask people like, hey, how do you do this? Or hey, can you give me any tips or any ideas? I love your work. And I could count about 4 people never inboxed me back, never wrote me back. And they were all black. They never wrote me back, never sent a hi, a wave, or nothing.
And white people don't mind giving you
advice.
Information. They will, here you go. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I think that
yeah.
Sometimes, guys, we put a little too much emphasis on color when we're dealing with situations, and that's what keeps the intensity of it all going. It's because we assume that because we share the same culture or the same skin color that we're looking for these people to help, but rather the mindset. Because me, I don't work with people just because they're black. I didn't take to Auguste just because she's black. I took to Auguste because of the character that she possessed. I felt connected to her the moment that I saw a live video with her in, and then I got an opportunity to get to know her. And there are some things that she's gonna say or think that I don't say or think the same way that she does. But that doesn't mean that we come against each other just because we don't agree with everything. That means we respect one another. We have to learn how to respect one another where we are and still be able to get over our differences to come together to make something happen. Now, if you're looking to go up and someone is still down here and they're not willing to go up with you and to collaborate with you and to create, share ideas and things like that, then that just goes to show that that's not somebody that's ready to work with you at that time. But don't take it as if that's the whole Black community of people that are in business, because we are not all like that. And the Authentic Collective, which is what Auguste found, it's not like that. I find that there's so many things different. But instead of trying to change other people, instead of trying to say, well, they won't help me, get that mindset to where you're going to help yourself. And just because one won't help don't mean that there's not 20 others down the road that is not willing to help. And they may not all look like you guys. You know, that they may not all look like you. It may take you some growing up and some developing and some changing for you to meet those people that look more like you. But we are out there. We are out there, and we are open to sharing. We are open to teaching and training and supporting one another. It's just that, you know, our steps are ordered, and sometimes it's just that stepping stone. We just have to grow up. We have to develop, and so we go over. So you really have to really consider your own mindset. Consider what you need to do to be in a better space and begin to move in that direction. And be willing to reach out to like I'm learning about these business coaches and things like that. It may be something that you may just have to invest in yourself. You may have to invest in somebody to come together to train you and to help you develop and get to that state in which you really desire to be. Snow, any last comments from you?
Can I say one thing because of that last thing that was brought up? There's some truth to both sides, to what you said and what they said. I remember when I first came in the online arena, it was like, where are all the Black people at? You mean, you know, I need help with my business and I'm looking for coaches. And even from a paying perspective, you know, all I see is white people everywhere. And when I was trying to connect and get to know Black people, it's like, dang, you know, for real, you know, is this what it's going to be like? So I know what you all are saying, that is true. But on the other hand, I can also tell you this, as a Black woman who got tired of not seeing what I was looking for, I became empowered and I created what I was looking for. And so my platform is always just all Black people. Not because I don't love anybody else, but I knew that if it was a void for me, that my platform ought to make it where whenever you're looking for somebody Black, male or female, that you can find them. That's one. The second thing is this too, and just basically piggybacking off of what you said, and Trisha, is that a lot of times we can think that we are innocently reaching out to people and we don't even understand that the way that we're asking the question is offensive. And so, but that doesn't mean that the person couldn't have still responded better. You know, you reach out and you like, hey, you know, I see you doing this, I'm doing this, you know, I want to collab with you, or can I know how you did that? And their immediate thought is, if you mature, you want to be a business owner, you're supposed to invest in yourself. I learned this because I paid for a $3,000 course. And that doesn't mean, just because you paid for something doesn't mean that you can't share anything, because I share a lot of information. But the person, and especially if they're bombarded like that all the time, and if they did help somebody or try to talk to them and then they got played, we just don't never know what's on the other side of that story. And so the thing about it is if you reached out to people and it didn't go the way that you wanted it to go, then you take your time, you know, get advice, or you reach out to other people and you do it differently. But I can tell you this, for anybody that's in business, don't lead from the hip with trying to figure out how you could collaborate with anybody, because guess what? I just did a video about this in my group. I explained to people before they sign up for my program, my summit, I was like, this is the kind of personality that I have. And this is what it looks like to work with me. These are the deadlines. I'm strict on them. This is why. So guess what I'm peeved off about now? That I'm emailing about 3 or 4 people. Where's your stuff? Where's your stuff? Where's your stuff? One woman, yes, I'm saying it like this, even had the audacity to say, well, maybe you could have put that in a contract, or, you know, you put the PDF in a Facebook group, but I'm not really on Facebook like that. And I'm like, boo-boo. Your bullet point list of shit you're supposed to submit, I'm not gonna put it in a fucking contract. Now, I didn't say it this way. I emailed her back professionally, but I'm like, the very first email that I sent you was a very thorough overview of the vision. You got a PDF with everything that you needed. It was your responsibility to print that off and use it as a point of reference. So every single time I do my summits, I am more strict and more specific on what people have to do in order to work with me, because even when I make it plain, I got people that move on CPT time. Now, mind you, CP time, mind you, the vast majority of my people, they do what they got to do. It's always 1 to 3 people that just seem to like really just make me want to pull my hair out. So I have to look at the positive side and think about the 17 people that do it right and be like, okay, but you other 3 over here, you're going to help me tighten up my processes. So you got to know a person's personality. So don't ever leave asking about business. Hey, I see you on IG or whatever. I was looking at your profile. You dope. I like what you're doing. Bam. Like people's posts, comment on their posts, start making a connection. You know what? I just want to learn a little bit more about you. Maybe we can hop on a connection call. Get to know the person, because when you get to talking to them, you might be like, oh, girl, the stuff I be doing, I just throw shit together. And you be like, oh, I'm a planner. I don't even, because you might not even really want to work with that person. So take your time. And in business relationships, you always lead with relationship, not business. And so part of it may be your fault, ladies. That's all I'm saying. But it's innocently your fault because you do not know. Some of the people are shitty and stingy, and some of the people have already been burnt. But when you do see, like I'm calling all y'all out, or both of y'all out, but when you do see somebody that's about their business, then you make sure you lean in. So I should see both of y'all in the Authentic Collective. It's a lot of free resources over there. And then you mature up and then you say, okay, this woman about her business, and you invest in yourself and you keep moving forward. Because in the end, I will say this finally and stop, because once again, not trying to be too long-winded. When you are running a business, the rule of the game is investment. If you don't put yourself in it, for people that watch this replay, if you can't invest, you ain't in business. If you can't invest, you ain't in business, because business is more than your skill and you getting somebody to pay you. You are running a well-tuned, fine, intentional machine that's got bookkeeping, accounting, finances, taxes, inventory, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And so you got to learn how to do this because school didn't give it to you. But just, keep your faith, because there's plenty of us good Black people out here. We sharing information and we making sure other entrepreneurs get it.
That is so true. And I thank you guys all for coming in and sharing just your perspective on the issues and the things that we deal with in everyday society. Guys, we know that life continues to happen and there's no picking it apart, because if it's real to us, if that's our reality, then it is what it is, and that's how we perceive it. So I appreciate all you guys that were here joining us tonight. Some of you are still on with us. It is a pleasure to be here with you guys, and I want to thank all my special guest co-hosts that came here to sit on this platform with us tonight to just kind of share our insight. We know that between one of us, you could see yourself or you could relate to some of the issues that you have even been exposed to or experienced here in our nation, guys. I've left all the websites and links to the various things that was talked about here, and even my own website and alliance group in the comment section. Feel free to go ahead and click on those and check those out and reach out and contact us for any questions that you have. Don't forget to like and share this video as we are winding down tonight. It has indeed been a blessing to connect with you guys. I want to thank you ladies for sacrificing your time to be here with us on such short notice, but I did feel like it was necessary. Meet me back here again tomorrow night, 10 p.m. on Facebook Live. Thank you guys.
Bye.